Let me ask a question. What makes a man less, or what makes a man less of a man? Not making sense. Because at times we judge men harshly. If they don't have a job, they are less of a man. If they live at their parents' place, they are less of a man. If in everything physical, like for example, they don't have they are not masculine, they are less of a man. But what happens when you date someone who has finances, is masculine, but at the end of the day, they don't know how to handle you? Are they still less of a man? Because in reality, we are basing our judgment towards one side. But what about the other side that matters? Emotional health, mental health, spiritual health, physical and finances, and are errors. Are we together? Those are errors, because that is where you find this relationship becomes one leg, because the other one has broken, because you have focused on the finances and the physicality more. Are we together? For me, a less of a man is a man who is violent, abusive, don't have mental strength, doesn't have emotional strength. Physical strength, they can go for a gym. Financial, they can find a job. But mental and emotional, that one you cannot train anybody. Wait, I know you have your own values. I know that. But let me ask you a question. Does your relationship have values? Is there something that you believe in that no matter what you cannot fall into? Like for example, me, I cannot date someone. Okay, let me not say I cannot, because it might do me that thing in the future. But can you have values that you can say? For example, you don't go for gay parties. You don't go to rituals. What are your beliefs? The beliefs that you have as a couple, the values will guide you to where you are headed. But the problem is you have your own value, the other one has the value, but you don't have values that conjoin you. So that's why you find, if I'm dating a drunkard, that drunkard can go to a club and I can remain in the house, because my value says I don't go to the club. But she doesn't have values in terms of clubbing. I'm not saying clubbing is wrong, I'm giving an example. But as a relationship, do you have some values that tame you? Like you cannot go somewhere that couples are going or singles are going alone. You cannot go, you see, sit down. And I'm telling you, if you want to see a successful relationship, sit down and have values that guides you to that future vision that you have as a couple. Because the problem is having solo projects, solo values. The end of the day, you will guide yourself towards a certain journey, the other person will guide themselves towards a certain journey, because you don't have conjoined values. Ladies and gentlemen, can we agree something? If you are dating someone who is idle, who sometimes we call them housewives or housemen, kindly, when you get married, sign something called a prenup agreement, whereby you will not have to share your assets or your belongings with someone who never participated in the building of it. If you listen to a lot of people, because the reason I have come with this topic is because I have heard about a man who was a millionaire, and he confesses that now he's poor because the woman went with most of the assets. Why? Because our laws mostly favors women. I don't know why. I have never had a woman going to court, a man going to court for separating or divorcing, and they become richer than the woman because the woman was independent or something like that. It's rare. But this is what I'm telling you. If you are sure that you are in love and you want to get married to an idler, someone who doesn't have anything to do with the visions that you have, the dreams that you have, the businesses that you have, they just want to sit around and enjoy, may you think about your future. I'm not saying all of your marriages will end or separate or divorce, but you don't know about tomorrow. If you are not in a position to separate and share the things that you have willingly, kindly sign that prenup. Yes, I do. Do you know a lot of ladies, you are in a quickie or you're in too much speed of wearing that gown? But do you know, have you ever realized that that gown you will never wear it again? Apart from those people who usually say that they will be buried with their gown. Okay, that's another story. But do you know what it means by rings of life? Pingu za maisha, for those who understand Swahili. That means you are putting yourself in a prison that it takes a longer process to get out than the process that you took to get in. Getting in is like going to Mombasa. Okay, it's easy to get in inside Mombasa. Getting out from Mombasa, it's another problem. And it is high time you come to realize this. I do. You want to say I do. It might ruin your life or build your life, depending on who you are and who you are getting married to. Because sometimes we are getting married to handsome people, rich people, prominent people, established people, but these people are not compatible. So you find in our honeymoon stage is when we want to say, yes, I do. Then when the hiccups comes, this person doesn't have the emotional intelligence that you need in that relationship. You don't have the mental intelligence that that person needs as a helper in that relationship. And you come to realize that you two people are incompatible too late. Because maybe now you have kids, you have contracts, you have businesses, so you live like roommates in a relationship that you thought that yes, I do will be harmonious. Sabotage. In relationship, you find that one of the partners are those people who do everything or they look for just options to destroy or to harm the relationship. They don't care. They are like, I want just this to end, but they fear that it might end. And then there are these people that they sabotage the relationship unknowingly. They are just foolish. Their maturity has not reached a place to know, by the way, I'm doing wrong. Are we together? For example, I usually say this: learn your partner. Maybe your partner does not love you rolling with different genders. If you are a man, doesn't like you having girls around. And then you are that person who usually is attracted to different genders as friends, and you are those people who make parties. And in these parties, you don't invite your partner. You do it with your friends. Do you think you are hurting or building your relationship? Because me as a person, I would ask myself, why was I not invited? Why is it that they are your friends and I'm not your friends, yet I'm your lover? What is important? What am I doing in this relationship? So in short, you're making me question myself. In reality, you're hurting our relationship, because we will never be at par, because I have questions that you cannot answer, because you expect me to understand that they are just friends. That was just an example. So if you reach a place you see that your behaviors are hurting your relationship, just know that you are trying to sabotage that relationship, because hurting your partner is a way of sabotaging. And no, you are verified with all your opinions, but how do they settle with your partner? You dated that person because you love them, so you need to respect their boundaries, their standards, their ideas, their suggestion. What hurts them might not hurt you, but it is hurting them. It doesn't nullify that it is painful to them. So instead of us continue sabotaging our relationship, it's either we end it or we find a common ground. Something we all forget is that the boy and the girl are the people that got attracted to each other. So when we enter into a relationship, it's like something enters into us and we start building things for the man and the woman, and we forget there is a girl and the boy that needs to be alive for this relationship to exist. Most of our relationships are stone-faced. There is no time we have ever thought of going out, playing together. And that's why you see, any companies have grown to a level that we have been created what we call card games, home games. We have even Jenga. Yani, there are things that you can play in your house to revive the girl and the boy. But look at what you're doing. You are busy building a future that you don't know if the girl and the boy will strive, will have the energy to wait for it. Imagine your person that you're dating right now might be just your ride to your spouse, to your soulmate, to your partner. Get me like this. Have you ever heard of stories where a best friend introduced their partner, their girlfriend, to them, and then years later the best friend marries your partner? Like, for example, I introduced my partner to my best friend. Then 3 years later, we break up, and my best friend takes this girl of mine, and 5 years, 7 years later, they are still together and happy. You wonder what happened. I was just a ride. I know this one is controversial, but you might just be a ride to someone's destination. You might be taking your partner to their spouse, and their spouse might be your brother, your sister, your colleague, your best friend. So normalize knowing to enjoy today, because tomorrow is not promising. Please normalize choosing what is the best for you. You know, we have the mentality of Africans. Most Africans are these people. They go to buy what is cheap, not what they are worth. So you go to ask, this is the bread, which is the cheapest bread. You are not looking for what you deserve, what that bread is coming with. So that is what we are doing with the relationship. We are settling with what is available, not what we deserve. But we forget that the generation that is coming after us, the generation that we are starting, the lineage that we are starting, they really depend on the decisions we make right now. I'm not saying you date someone to be seen that you are dating a specific person. No, date the best that you can for you, so that even your generation will make decision towards what you leaned on, your need, your desire, your worth. I say acceptance is the first step to healing. If you want to heal, stop justifying yourself. They said you're bad, you're bad. They said you are a player, you are a player. They said you are you don't regard people. You don't regard people, because at the first place, the more you justify yourself, the more you sink into depression. Because you are trying to come up with ideas to make people who don't understand you understand you. Why do you want people to understand you yet you have your own life? Me, I have something that I believe in. If you think I'm a thief, I don't have to say I'm not a thief. I will continue with my life. You catch me when I'm stealing. Okay? But if all that you have is hearsays, you have words to describe me, you don't have evidence, actionable evidence that I did, then you cannot point fingers at me. Because if you don't accept what they are saying, you will take longer to heal. Are we together? They said that you are like so. Let me not give examples, because sometimes I give examples and they seem personal. But in reality, I want you to learn that if you want to heal, as much as they are speaking about your process, you need to accept everything that they are saying. Now take yourself as that person and then say, I want to be a better person. That is when you will get ideas to move on. You will get an idea to be better, because they have already painted you in a way that you are not okay. Okay, so you leave someone, they talk about you everywhere. Please don't call them to correct them. Correct yourself if they see you like that, so that the day they will see you again, they will see an improved person that they cannot have.